Welcome to another episode of This Is My Car. My name is David Jacobson. Today we have two guests that not only share notable contributions to the business world, but also a friendship and deep passion for cars. Greg Galdi is a New York technology leader who loves and has collected some of the world's most important race cars. Rich Daly is a fintech executive and business builder whose passion for cars spans from the 1960s through today's most exciting rides. Let's see what they brought for us today. Hey, Rich. How you doing? Well, that's pretty light. Like a featherweight.
Hey, Dave, how are you?
Good to see you. How are you?
Dave, great to see you. I always love to hang at Pcarmarket.
I know you do, and I know you mean that, and I appreciate that. And, thanks for bringing this beautiful car today. You know, a lot of people that don't know who are meeting you for the first time is you're a real car collector. 65 Vet, 911s, Shelby. I mean, this is a real thing for you. It's a passion. Tell me a little bit about how you got started. Where was the inspiration for that?
Dave, from 6 years old on, I could tell you every car on the road. I've just always been turned on by first American muscle, and now any car that's been a great car of its time.
Yeah, so significance, milestones of the automotive world, we all appreciate those. But today, we have something very, very special, obviously, and that's, what is that?
If you love the Senna, get ready to be blown away.
Come on, seriously? We gotta check this out. Hey.
Hey.
David, you know my great friend,
Hey,
Greg
doing,
Galdi.
Hey, Greg. Nice to see you.
How are you? Partner?
Absolutely.
How you doing?
Yeah. Wow. Well, come on
something?
now. You guys are killing me here.
What do you think?
I have a million questions, but let's start with the Senna.
We'll save the best for last.
We'll save the best for last because I have a lot of questions and everyone wants to see what's happening with this machine. So let's do that first, then we'll come back to this. Good?
Terrific.
All right, let's do it. All right, so guys, very exciting moment here. I have heard, I have seen, but I have never been behind the wheel of one. And remember your promise of me driving this thing, but
Really?
Hey, partner, we have to talk.
now that you're here, it's like, oh, did I say that? So you guys are partners in a lot of different cars, right? You buy cars together, and
Indeed.
And who decides who drives when? Is it? I mean, it's not like having a timeshare where you buy a house in Cabo together, and I'm using this week and you can't. I mean, is there ever an issue there?
You know, there's enough cars, and we have a great relationship that it's never been an issue.
That's
Greg
because
is,
they all stay at Rich's house, right? So,
That's not true. I know that's not true. But you do have enough space to keep the cars down. You have a different location.
Greg has a good amount of track time, and I have a good amount of street time.
Yeah. Oh,
And,
that's a perfect segue, man. This is the perfect street race car.
It absolutely
And that's
is.
how you split it up. You're on the track and you're on the street with this car?
There's no question about it. This car is known to be the most trackable street car that exists. When you look at this car, it looks like a race car, and you would think the seats are uncomfortable. It's remarkably comfortable inside that car,
Really?
and it's a great car to drive around just on a Sunday afternoon.
Speaking like somebody who loves a sports car. I mean, look at this car. You say it's comfortable. Is it really, though? Is it comfortable? It's really comfortable to drive?
I will hold up on my end of the bargain. When you drive it, you tell me.
Okay, fair enough. Now, Greg, but now on the track, I mean, we talked briefly before, and I was actually a little blown away trying to get a little bit more a background in the car, but this is really a marvel in technology and performance, isn't it?
it is. It's you push a few buttons and it grows muscles, and all of the Formula One tricks that they learned over the last 2 decades that got outlawed because they wanted to keep the Formula One speeds down are in this car.
Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So for instance,
there are no springs in this car. It's all hydraulic and it's all computer driven. There's a big air dam on the back of the car, and that controls the rear end. In the front, there are 2 dive planes, almost like a fighter plane.
Is
and
that
the
right?
computer
Wow.
controls all of that.
Now you were also saying, was it Silverstone? Where's the track that has that big dip we were talking earlier?
In Summit Point.
Or Summit Point, and you're saying
West
that this
Virginia.
car, because of its the wings, and it keeps this thing
The
planted,
downforce.
the downforce, that it actually really, even during that rise where the car can be light, it's tight.
At the speed we were going, it has about 600 pounds of downforce.
Wow.
And it's palpable. I mean, you could absolutely feel it.
600 pounds.
Most cars get light.
Yeah.
When you're traveling at 120.
And but when a lot of people look and they see these winglets and they see these air ducts and they see, it's cool looking, but there is purpose for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you look at, especially a car like this that has a lot going on over here, but so that's on the track, but on the road, this is not a small car. This is actually a pretty big car.
Feels very light when you drive.
It does.
You'll see.
Yeah, I'm looking for. I cannot wait. Now, carbon fiber. The whole car is carbon fiber.
Yep.
And what would you say this thing weighs roughly?
I think it's about 2,800 pounds, somewhere in there. But the frame itself is just about 100 pounds.
Wow. And you were telling me earlier
itself,
also that if you strip everything and you're looking at just the frame.
Yeah, just the monocoque chassis.
Just the monocoque chassis.
Yeah, you and I could lift it easily.
Wow, that's unbelievable. And yet it's as strong as it's ever been. Really incredible stuff. Now, one other thing is the color. I'm an orange car guy, and I know that you just bought an RSR in orange, right?
I did from Pcar.
From Pcar, that's right. Say a little plug. But this is called, you said?
Papaya Spark.
Papaya Spark. Wow, it
Out
sounds
of the
juicy.
sun, you see the metal flake in it. You'll see when you.
Oh yeah, we're going to check it out in
Very
the sun. We actually have a sunny, nice day today. It's going to be near 70, so the tires are already warmed up. Last time I took a car out, it was 30 degrees. I had to be careful, but we're going to have some fun. So, but what a great color! I mean, and with the set off with the carbon fiber and that papaya, really beautiful. So, very funny. We were talking before. I said, let's go back and let's look at the motor, but there's nothing to see back here.
No, it's all buried deep in the rear end of the car.
Let's look at it anyway, because
Sure.
there's really nothing. Let's go see what nothing is to see.
Sure.
Listen, I can come back here and I can fake it and say, ooh, ah. I don't need to, man. This view, the sculpted. I mean, everything has a purpose. But tell me about this. First of all, it looks like it's so delicate, but yet you could probably put an elephant on it.
It's very strong carbon fiber, number one. Number two, you'll notice that it's suspended, right? It doesn't come up from the bottom. That's so that the aerodynamics has a clean surface to operate on. Isn't that neat? That makes a difference.
So this whole thing is supported from the top.
All right here. And on hard braking, this goes up vertical up to about this height. It's really something to see. Yeah.
Oh, so when you brake, this actually changes
Yeah.
positions.
Oh yeah. Well, as you drive, this will be keeping constant pressure on the ground. But when you hit the brakes hard, this becomes a big air dam.
Now, do you have control of this at all on your own?
The computer has control.
All computer control.
All computer.
But that's where your 600 pounds of downforce
That's where you
comes
see
from.
600 pound of downforce. Yeah. You mind if I climb on here just to see?
Why not?
First of all, it looks comfortable. It looks like you have a nice little scoop over here. But again, with the vents for the air to come out, and unfortunately, you can't see anything here. But the funniest thing was you said before. I said, if you want, what'd you say? If you
You said you wanted, get a shot of the engine. I said, well, that's going to cost us 15 grand to have the car taken apart.
That's great, because, no, thank you. We'll go on Google, we'll get a picture of the motor. But whatever you do see over here, which is part of the motor, is obviously treated nicely with the carbon fiber, and it looks beautiful, but all the sculpted lines are beautiful. And then you get to the diffuser here, right?
Yep.
Which obviously has an equal purpose, Greg, right?
Sure. Well, there's a lot of air coming out of here. All the air that's channeled underneath is coming out the back. Okay, so all the radiator air that comes out of the top, this is the exhaust here.
Yeah.
So you can see that that actually shoots flames at night.
Well,
when you let off the gas. Very cool.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll get some flames, guys. We keep trying.
Marshmallows.
We'll toast marshmallows. So I can stay. This is actually a photo shoot all in itself, and we got some beautiful B-roll that these guys are going to show of this gorgeous, gorgeous rear end. So let's take a look at the front. See what's happening out there. Yep. So here we are. We're on the front. There's a lot of things going on over here, but the first question: if nothing opens on this car, what kind of fun is this?
Whoa. Don't,
Rich.
You're exaggerating, Dave.
What do we got
I got
here?
plenty of storage in this car. Watch this. Phone.
Okay, so there's your phone holder.
Yep.
Okay, and the way you have that thing in your ear, you don't need to hold the phone, so it's perfect for you. That's very funny. But that's really nothing else opens here that you don't need to, though. I mean, this car is all about performance and getting it serviced. You bring it to McLaren, right? Yeah, sure. And they charge you whatever.
It's a steal.
Yeah, it's a steal. What a bargain. and they get the car and they do what they have to do. But all kidding aside, all functional. I mean, we have a lot of things going on. Maybe, Greg, you could just take a minute and explain what's happening here.
Well, the front is all open air scooping to keep the air from going underneath the car.
Right.
Okay, and so that air comes through radiators and comes out the top, holds the front down. This air is guided around the outside of the tires because friction of the air against the tires slows the car down. The rest of that air, there's the air dams that I spoke of before, and they adjust to keep the car level. And if you see, even the air is channeled along the side of the car into these recesses to keep the air from spilling off the side of the car, but to follow where the designer wants it to go.
So it goes in here, and it's actually channeled out and usable.
Into the radiator cooling. That's the cooling for the engine.
To help even cool the engine more efficiently.
Yeah.
Really spectacular. So how about the wheels? What are they made of? And was there any choices that you guys had, or was pretty much the way that...
You know, this is pretty much the way it came. There were choices. Look, McLaren will make anything, any color out of any material you want.
Is that right?
Absolutely. They'll make the front badge platinum if you want, or solid gold.
Sure, why not?
The wheels, different colors, but mostly the black and the Papaya Spark go great together. Those big massive discs stop the car amazingly well.
But fantastic. I mean, the mirrors, the way they kind of sit like they're being held up.
Yeah,
like
and the big air scoop in the top pulling air in for the engine, and that's clean air that comes up out of the scoops.
Listen, I have a view over here right now of this one and that one.
Yeah. That's an unusual view.
That's an unusual view, which, so you could see the intake here and the intake there, and you could see the family history.
The design engineering.
The design engineering, just very, very, very F1 stealthy looking. Very cool, very cool. So I think the perfect next move is to do the interior. Let's check it out. It's like a world of carbon fiber and leather just engulfing you. Talk about futuristic. This is incredible.
It's very cool.
Really incredible.
Yeah.
So, okay, the dashboard is not up, and I guess that's a matter of when you get in, it goes up.
It's actually got two different modes. On the road, it swings up to give you a little bit more information. When you're on the track, it goes down just to give you RPMs.
Really? So this is the down mode for a track?
Yeah, exactly.
And then in that little slit over there
you see an RPM thing, because that's all that's important.
Wow. So if I clap, is it going to go into street mode?
No.
Clap on, clap off? No? So if you want to get that dashboard in street mode.
Yeah, it's this button.
Very cool. So street mode gives you more of a dashboard.
Exactly.
And the racing gives you what you need. Visibility and the RPMs. Carbon fiber, that screen. So when you're in the car, and it does look comfortable. I know the materials look hard, but it does absolutely look comfortable. But Rich, when you're driving this, that Senna console, that's like radio and stuff for all your operations for.
It is, but the thing about this car is everything about it is function over form. When this first came out, some of the reviews were a dislike of the appearance. As people drove it and got to understand it, they realized what McLaren did, everything was about the function of this car, all right? And form took second place, the way Greg explained the air and everything else.
So performance and the automobile itself rather than the aesthetics. I get it, and it looks like that because it looks very extreme, but I guess that's the whole purpose of the car, is to get the results that they were looking for. But in the interior here now, regarding so that's the radio, I'm assuming what does that Senna control?
It's your climate control, it's the radio, it's any function required. But again, if you compare this to other supercars,
right?
Okay, this is really a minimalist interior.
It really is. It really is. When you look at like LaFerrari, if you look at a lot of the Lamborghinis, there's a lot of drama going on. This is really, it's tech, it's technology, but it's very precise, delivered information, it looks like.
And you'll see the drama later when you drive.
Yeah, I guess that's what the whole point is. Very, very, very simple. It almost, believe it or not, it's almost reminiscent of an F40. I know in the sense that it's just so simple with that Kevlar, you know, and the way that it was really just purpose built and it was very obvious. This is like a newer version of that same type of vibe. Is that weird?
Yeah, I would agree. No. It's very close to, as you get close to a race car, they converge upon practical nature of race cars.
And a much more modern version, detailed version of it, but absolutely. Fantastic. So is there anything that anyone who's watching this should know about this interior before we drive it?
I think the biggest feature on this car is the ability to move from what they call a street or a normal function to a sports function to a race function. And so that progressively changes the aerodynamics, changes the ride height, changes the stiffness of the springs. And in race mode, it actually lowers the car about 4 or 5 inches. So it's in race mode right now. And it gets dramatically different in race mode. It feels like it has no springs.
Isn't that right? Really?
When you drive it on a track, it feels very, very flat, and
which is what you want when you
But the turn-in and the brakes are spectacular.
Is that right?
You'll see that when you drive it.
Yeah.
It's like nothing you've ever driven before.
And gas or oil?
Gas and oil.
Gas and oil. Don't mix it up.
Yeah.
And don't put racing fuel in this car, right, Greg?
Yes, that's right.
Why is
Only
that?
unleaded.
I filled it with racing fuel at the track.
Yeah.
And that was the end of our track day.
Seriously?
Yeah. It needs unleaded.
Yeah.
Unleaded? Really? Wow.
Oh.
Well, because all the computers are looking at the temperatures and the gases and adjusting the mixture. And as soon as you throw lead in there, it pollutes the sensors and, destroys the sensors.
And you don't want to replace these sensors.
No, I would imagine not too cheap. But very cool, very cool. There's only one thing left before we take this for a ride. I'm going to hold everything together to happily to take a look at the Hunt.
All right.
Fittipaldi car. Let's do that.
Perfect.
So here we are. Very special. Now, I have a million questions, but just for the sake of time, I want to hear a couple of the shining moments of this car. So we have a 75 McLaren
M23 Formula One car.
Formula One car. This is a car that would be racing, for those that are watching, in the Formula One races that you see today, but in 1975.
Exactly.
Now, this is what size motor is in here?
This is a 3-liter.
It's a
3-liter Ford Cosworth engine.
3-liter Ford Cosworth engine. Horsepower?
In the day, about 450. We get about 500 out of it today.
Which in the day was a lot of power.
Tremendous amount of
This thing weighs nothing.
Yep.
I think I was hearing 1,500 pounds, 1,800 pounds in that range.
Yep.
Wow. How much more fun can you get? I just have a question for you. You have a special diet that you stay on to fit in this thing?
Yeah, it's at different times in my life, there's actually a little scallop there that you fit into, so.
That's motivation enough to stay svelte, right?
It is.
But so tell us about this car. I mean, it's obviously very, very special to you,
It is.
Greg. I know how you got the car and who drove it. So share some of that.
It's been the centerpiece of the collection for the last 20 years that I've owned it.
Like 20 years you've had this car.
What's really, I raced it for that long. And what's really special about a race car, any race car, is its heritage and its provenance. The M23 started in the early 70s and really was still being raced in 78 and 79 by privateers. Pretty much the same design, a little bit of suspension changes, but pretty much the same design that we see today. What's really special about this car is that it was born in 75, was the first season. It raced for 2.5 seasons, and then it was put away in Brooklands by the factory for 25 years. So for those 2 seasons, Emerson Fittipaldi, world championship winner, raced for 1 season.
Now he won a race or two.
He won a number of races,
in this
including
car.
his last race in Silverstone.
In this car.
In the rain.
Wow, spectacular.
And James Hunt won a number of races in it, as did Jochen Mass.
Jochen Mass.
All 3 drove this car to victory at different times over its 3-year history.
So that's tremendous. So this particular car won you're talking about 4 or 5 races at least.
I think it won more than that. It competed in 28 Grand Prix,
Wow.
and which is the second most car. The first most raced model of this car is still at the factory.
Fantastic.
But the cool thing is I actually bought this from the factory. I was the first owner of this car. It sat in Brooklyn's museum for 25 years. They would take it out periodically.
Right.
And then my friend, who was the oldest employee at McLaren, arranged for me to procure this car.
Very special. So you got it right from the source.
Yeah, and,
very special.
And when Fittipaldi drove in it, he realized it was the car he won his last Grand Prix in, and he got very emotional, actually.
Is that right?
He said, I so appreciate it. It's just as I stepped out of it, which is exactly what a collector wants.
Yeah,
because
of
I'm
course.
keeping this for the next generation, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
cars are the stars.
So you don't realize how important people like you are, Rich, right? It's amazing. Is that this is in a collection right now, but this is really, we are caretakers for the future of these cars.
Oh, it's the passion, it's the history,
Yeah.
and it's the joy of sharing these things with other people.
Absolutely. It really is. I don't think people really get that. When you have a car like this, there's almost a responsibility to share it and to let people learn from its history, to keep it going. And when a car has victories and the people that race this car, this is truly special. And I will say something else. 2 things. Number one is you had to have you got to be pretty brave to drive this car at 100. How fast did this car go?
Well, I've had it up to 189. It'll do about 220, but not with me in it.
Okay, well, that's you had this to 189.
Yeah.
Holy crap! So, but imagine racing this car. Look how mechanical. Look how your life is a nut and bolt away from complete disaster. Really incredible. That's why these are true. You had to have brass ones, man. You really did. This is just really unbelievable to get in a car like this and drive that fast. And the other thing is since you drove the Senna, you're the street guy for the Senna and you're the race guy for the Senna. Are you the street guy for this car? Well, that doesn't happen.
I could be.
So over here, okay, so you say we're going to take this off.
Absolutely.
Jeff, come on over. The man who makes it all happen. Let's see what's underneath.
What's special about this car, we're looking at this engine produced back in the 70s, okay, by British Ford. This powered probably 9 out of 10 cars on the grid in the Formula One races through the 70s.
Is that the
There
Ford?
was this Ford 4 overhead cam engine, and it was this, and Ferrari and Alfa had their own engines, but the rest of the teams all ran this engine, and they had a clean sheet of paper to bend the aluminum the way they wanted to, and everyone had their own theories, and they would create a car, and then after a race they'd look and see what everyone did, and they'd go copy it for the next race, and their cars would be a little different, and their end plates, their suspension, and that's how it works.
So what's interesting also is after the GT40 and after the Cobra, what they did in Europe, this Ford still was very menacing to the Italian races with this motor.
Yeah.
So it went on into the 70s, right?
Yeah.
You talk about the mid 70s doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Winning races all over the world with a Ford motor.
I mean, look at how compact this block is.
Yeah, it's really
Very
it is
compact.
very
Race
very
on
compact.
Sunday, win on Monday.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly right. And then sell on Monday.
That's right. Race on Sunday, sell on Monday. You're right.
And this is the technology they put in. Now the brakes, just a little bit of the brakes. The brakes are in there. Why? What's the setup and what's the purpose of that?
Well, they move the brakes inside so that the weight isn't what they call unsprung, okay? If the weight is out here, when something hits the wheel, there's more mass. So it's a lot easier to control the wheel with the shock absorber if the disc is inside. Plus the cooling is better because it's out in the airflow.
Yeah. Spectacular. Just such a simple machine. Being in a car like this, to me, is more fun than being in a car that could do it all for you. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Do you share that?
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. This is a car, it's a driver's car, very easy to approach. Because there's very little aero, and I know there's a wing on it, and there's wings in the front, but they weren't very functional back in the day. No, they didn't know yet. And so most of this car is driven by gravity and about how well those tires get heated up to stick to the track, you know.
And when we were looking at those tires, the way that the air was to go around, so like you said, the tires were part of the friction that slowed the car down. This is all friction.
Yeah, look at this. This is in the airflow, right?
It's incredible, really. Listen, we could talk about this one all day also. James Hunt, Emerson Fittipaldi, and
Yogi Mas,
Yogi Mas. great history, what a treasure. Thank you for bringing this today.
Terrific.
It's
My
really,
pleasure.
Really
Car's the
incredible.
star.
Rich, thank you so much. Can we take him for a ride?
Absolutely.
Now, I'm going to drive. No, I'm not driving this one. I'll settle for this Senna, but you won't be able to catch me. Let's go take a ride.
That may not be true.
That's true too. You ready?
All right.
All right, let's do it.
Go.
Thanks.
Rock and roll. Dave, I'm at the stage in life where this is not a dress rehearsal.
Yeah,
My
man.
rule is if I own it, I drive it.
Absolutely, that's right. And I've always felt that way. I've always driven everything, but I want stuff that I drive often, and I'm getting rid of anything else. This is fantastic, Rich. Wow.
Well, as we talked earlier, I said there's no question everything in this car is function over form. So there's nothing in this interior, there's nothing on the exterior that isn't here for a purpose. Nobody's trying to say, well, wouldn't it look great if we bolstered this up, if we added a little leather here?
Yeah.
This is simply about
Yes.
what's the most function you can get at a minimal weight and minimal material.
And people, I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. People are not going to agree with this or get what I'm saying. Most people. It reminds me of a really modern version of an F40. The thought process of the interior. It's the same idea. It's just what you need with this carbon fiber, then the Kevlar. Same feeling. That same raw race car feel.
Looks like you're doing okay to me.
What a feel. What a beautiful road feel this has. It must be spectacular. It must be a religious experience getting on the track with this car. Really special.
How great was that, buddy?
Thank you so much. I can't thank you enough for bringing these incredible automobiles, sharing the information, and just spending all day with me and giving me the chance to drive this, Rich and Greg. I greatly appreciate it. This was a wonderful day, wonderful show, two great guys. And I want to thank everyone for watching. This is my car. My name is David Jacobson, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you, guys.
Great being there, Dave.
Did you call my wife now?
And that's, what is that? What is
My
that?
phone ringing in my ear.
You can't make this up.
Not really.